Football season is drawing near, and we have the proof, courtesy of Mountain West Conference Media Days underway in Las Vegas. Hello and welcome to Aztecs All In, the podcast that goes all in on San Diego State sports. I'm Louis Weiner, along with Steve Perez in Sin City, where it's all about the upcoming Mountain West football season and year two for Aztecs coach Sean Lewis. Let's say hello to Steve. And Steve, if the Aztecs football season is anything like the size of the gigantic sports book here at Circa, then we are in for a great season.
I think it's going to be big, really big. Now, here's the other thing, Louis. You got to give credit where the credit is due. And it's not just the Mountain West Football Media Days. It's the Old Trapper Mountain West Football Media Days. It's here at Circa, the resort hotel. We're recording this right now in our hotel room.
Yeah, and we've been grabbing those bags of beef jerky.
It's tasty stuff.
Yours is half empty there already, it looks like.
Try the old-fashioned, folks.
Yeah. Coming up in this edition of Aztecs All In, Mountain West Conference Commissioner Gloria Nevarez talks about the state of her conference, and it's about to lose 5 schools.
Right, and we also talked to 2 Aztec football players on both sides of the line about their prospects for the coming season.
Yeah, but it all started, Steve, with an address from the commissioner, 8 a.m. this morning, a pretty big crowd of media, and she touched on many different topics. And I got the sense during some of her speech or address that there's a lot of other things she'd rather have been doing than sitting there talking about some of these topics, but they're topics that people want to know a lot about.
Well, You have to love the limelight, and I've been impressed. This is the 3rd time I've covered media days in football for Aztecs All In, and she strikes me as a very articulate and knowledgeable representative for the Mountain West. And I think that a lot of organizations would like to have somebody like her in charge, and I can think of a number of organizations on the top of my head that I would love to see her in charge of. She's high intelligence, high energy, and really good with people as well.
Right, and not an easy job for her. You know, she's dealing with 5 teams that'll be leaving, and she's trying to balance it out and make them feel like they're still a part of this football season, because they are, but she also has to deal with the future and teams, you know, another team coming in the middle of the season. And, you know, she touched on all of that very, you know, bluntly, I think.
Yeah, we're going to hear a little montage in a little bit, but on the plus side for the Mountain West, they have another chance at getting another team into the 12-team field of the college football playoffs. Boise State pretty much cracked the glass ceiling on that last season. University of Nevada, Las Vegas ended last season with a national ranking and made a splash on the national pages. So much so they lost their head coach to a bigger program. So all that is good. It draws more attention to the Mountain West, and even though the Aztecs are moving on after this season to the Pac-12, you don't want to leave a conference that you've spent so much time in. And I know a lot of people involved in the San Diego State program, especially if you read some of the boards, don't have a high opinion of the Mountain West and some of the teams there. And I say if you've traveled around any part of the conference or seen any of the playing venues, I mean, it's a tough travel conference no matter what sport you're playing. So town for town, college for college, I would put it up against any of the other places that teams have to go to compete in the United States. It's a tough travel conference, the Mountain West. So you won't hear me poor-mouthing anything about that or the people who I've been involved in communicating with to help produce this podcast. All of them have been top-notch individuals.
The Mountain West has been good for San Diego State, not just basketball primarily, but a lot of the other sports, softball and baseball and swimming and diving, and they've all been very successful in one way or the other. So,
and let's not forget 3 Mountain West Conference championships for the Aztecs in football. And for a time, they were the team to beat in the conference. And with Sean Lewis's help, Montezuma willing, they will rise again.
Does seem like a long time ago at this point. All right, well, let's get into it. Here's a bit of what Commissioner Nevarez had to say earlier today.
So one of the things I think about when preparing for this coming season, and one of the themes we've latched onto, has been staying in the moment. There are 12 football playing institutions competing under the Mountain West banner this year, and thousands of student athletes, many of whom started their careers with the Mountain West and will conclude their careers in the Mountain West. And we are committed to celebrating them and honoring them excellently and equitably all year long. So we really want to stay in the moment and thank those student athletes for their part in the legacy that is the Mountain West. Certainly, as I open, we're committed to staying in the moment. Conference realignment is nothing new in our industry. When I was at the West Coast Conference, BYU was transitioning out to the Big 12, and so we're committed to doing what we do well. It's business as usual, and we're looking forward to this season.
What were the biggest benefits for you in this league to add Grand Canyon University immediately? Not a move you see very often in leagues.
Well, you know, Jabin actually reminded me that it happened when the Big 12, Oklahoma and Texas left. Big 12 added members and competed against Oklahoma and Texas before they left. So it's certainly not unprecedented, but they're going to impact us competitively right away. They're going to be a positive influence. We wanted to make sure that their student athletes had a place to play and compete for championships and NCAA bids this year and ensure that they were coming in strong to the league. You know, we're really confident in our legal position, and we're committed to resolving these things as quickly as possible because I think it's best for everyone, student athletes, schools, leagues, to move on. So our commitment is to get through these as quick as possible.
How disappointing was it that mediation did not resolve this? Were you hoping, obviously, it would?
We proposed it, and it is definitely an effective and efficient way to resolve disputes, so we gave it a shot.
And it was 2 months. Did mediation last 2 months, or did it last a week? Nobody really knows how long it went before we found out that it was no longer working.
Yeah, I'm going to not comment on the timing and details of the mediation.
Okay.
Going forward, what's the time frame then for this attempted resolution?
We're back on the court's timeline. I think the next step is setting a date in both filing on one and setting a date in the other.
Courts have a tendency to drag on, and you are a trained attorney. What can people expect in going forward?
Yeah, I'm not going to hypothesize.
That's an interesting montage of some of the topics she hit on, and there's some other topics that she addressed during her State of the Mountain West, and noting that the Mountain West has connections in the college football world with former people going on to have personal ties in such programs on the college national level as the College Football Playoff Committee, among others. And mentioned previously that Boise's appearance in the playoffs, that helped draw more attention to the Mountain West Conference. So also worth a mention is that the conference itself is undergoing some change, not just the ones we've documented with the, what are they calling them? The pack stabbers, some people. I don't know. It's got a nice ring to it.
It does. I wish I had come up with it.
Right. But the Mountain West itself is undergoing a change of venue because next season, she announced, starting in July of 2026, the Mountain West's new headquarters will be in Las Vegas. So that's an opportunity for the city of Las Vegas and for the Mountain West and all the teams that will be remaining in that conference.
Yeah, and I wonder if that had something to do with the fact that UNLV decided to stick with the Mountain West, and maybe that's was another way of them trying to be in good shape with UNLV, and so that they didn't perhaps want to leave.
Right, and also if you're reading or interpreting signposts, that's an important one because there were some people who thought, well, maybe Las Vegas UNLV would join the Pac-12 as well, and with the headquarters of the Mountain West now being here in Vegas, I'd say that's probably even more remote, just as a practical matter. But the biggest issue as far as San Diego State's concerned and all the other teams that are joining the Pac-12 is the matter of the lawsuit that was filed by the Pac-12 over the whole poaching fees and also some of the departure fees. And this is according to The Athletic. The big news this week was that the Pac-12 Conference and the Mountain West Conference, they are apparently heading back to court, failing to resolve their dispute. It involves more than $150 million in poaching fees. The deadline had been set for Tuesday. The Pac-12 had filed the lawsuit last September and said the Mountain West forced them into agreeing to the poaching fees. the Mountain West in its court paper says, hey, why are we here? Dismiss this thing. We signed a deal. Back in March, both sides agreed to this mediation. They were under a gag order not to discuss anything publicly, and everyone appears to have honored that in so many ways, Louis. It's one of those rare cases where Maxwell Smart's cone of silence actually appeared to work. Right? So the deadline of July 15th to report on progress went. Both sides tell the court, hey, there's no deal, and they've now asked for a hearing September 9th to go forward and everything. You know, the Pac-12's position? Well, what do you think their position would be, Louis?
I can't even guess at this point, Steve. I'm not a lawyer, nor am I a commissioner. I'm just a bystander waiting for this all to be over.
Well, according to the reporting, they believe the fees are unlawful and intended to obstruct their ability to act in the best interests of student athletes and member institutions. Right? Well, what would you think the Mountain West's point of view would be?
The opposite?
You know, ultimately, the position seems fairly simple, and as explained to me, and as it looks like from anybody with an outside, hey, here's a document, here's the agreement. Did you sign this agreement, sir? Oh yeah, I did. Well, perform, right? You agreed to it, right? So, but that is why lawyers make so much money, because they kind of have a tendency to find little legal arguments that could be raised and thus add to the billable hours. So from here, it looks like the Mountain West's position is very strong. Signed contracts, agreements, and event of poaching, and claiming it gave the two Pac-12 schools a lifeline and a full football schedule for the 2024 season. So those are the 5 schools leaving, right? They put their notice in. They're leaving. They agreed to the $18 million exit fee. That might be part of the negotiating. We'll find out and see. But, in the meantime, I was kind of curious about the big picture, because we're talking big dollars. All the big dollars come from where when it comes to college football?
Television.
Right. The media rights deals. So that golden goose that big conferences are able to expand upon, grow, and develop into stronger programs on our national scene. Well, teams like or conferences like the Pac-12 and Mountain West say, hey, we want to get some, but the issue is they're fighting for the remainders. And we have these media rights deals, and I think we're looking at, because we've both been in media a long time, and in media, the only constant is change. And the biggest change at this point seems to be the fewer people who are connecting via traditional means, right? They're pulling the plug, and more people are looking at things over streaming. So I was kind of curious what the commissioner's take is on the whole media consumption habits and the changing habits in the Q&A, and here's how that went.
Can you comment at length about the changing media consumption habits of the end user, the consumer, and how it impacts such things that are important to all the conferences, such as the media rights deals?
Yeah, and the one thing that always has been holding true, despite all the changes in the media market, is the value of live sports, right? Because, you don't know the outcome until the end, and there's just a robust market for that. But certainly the platforms are changing. Streaming has definitely made an impact, but also the fact that some of our legacy partners picked up a lot of Western region inventory through their acquisitions in the Big Ten and the Big 12, certainly all those things impact a changing marketplace. But what I love about what we have in the Mountain West is we do represent that Western time zone. We have an extra time zone here in Hawaii that closes out the day. And as I open, live sports still has a very strong value in the market.
Does the conference have any thoughts about where the growth opportunities are for everybody who's trying to catch all those eyeballs?
Yeah, and what I really like about this new format or streaming is you're not locked into certain windows. You have unlimited bandwidth to air games in the same time window, whereas on linear, a little bit constricted. So I think it's a robust and growing market, but still, I think today that linear exposure, those national platforms are still our goal.
I mean, streaming's been chipping away at linear distribution for a long time now, but again, still the primacy of live sports on linear is holding strong. However, I like that now all of our content can be available to all the people who want to see it.
So is Apple's potential partner going forward on any of that? Because of the
negotiations, I'm not going to comment on that.
So just a couple more thoughts just about the whole streaming topic. Streaming services like Apple, right? There's ESPN Plus, there's Amazon, and a bunch of others, and those have grown as these traditional media outlets have seen a steady erosion. As we said, more people pulling the plug on the cable cord in their homes. So when it comes to streaming, the big picture to me seems is that streaming habit is the way forward for most of the live pro sports world and the college football world. And it's something that most folks under the age of 30, right, they take it for granted. That's kind of how they do everything these days.
Yeah. Well, broadcast, the NFL, is broadcast. It still is the only main entity on broadcast television that anybody watches these days, I think. And you've got to figure out how to get the games to the people and how best it is that they're going to be able to find them.
Right, and they want to get their product. It's a live product, and it's fungible, right? Once it's live, it's done. It's kind of like an airline seat, right? Anyways, it seems to me, in another big picture topic, that the existing networks, even though they are slowly getting eroded by all these streaming services, they still have a leg up over these standalone streaming operations because you can use that live audience that you have on these big networks, your CBSs, your CBS sports networks, and Paramount Plus and such, and you can promote that streaming offering. So you've attracted all these eyeballs to a big event like the college football playoffs and the championship, and use that as the platform to kind of push them forward into your own streaming offering. All that tells me one big thing, Lewis, and you know what it is?
What, Steve? Please do tell.
We need to put our live streaming team right on it.
Okay. The Aztecs All-In streaming team is on it. Let's get back to the why we're here in Las Vegas, not just to hang out and have a good time, but talk a little football. And we got to talk to two San Diego State players, including pass rush extraordinaire Trey White. And here's a conversation I had with him today. So, second year in the Sean Lewis regime, second year of the 4-2-5. How are you guys adjusting compared to last year and this year, and how do you see the defense progressing this season?
Yeah, so we got a new defensive coordinator, Rob Orich, who was my position coach last year. So I believe in the defense that he's running, and I feel like it's a lot more simpler, and it's going to make us play a lot faster. And so I can't wait to see the product that we put on the field with this defense. We practiced this defense during the springtime, and we made a lot of plays, and, our defense was just flying around. So I'm really excited to see this season how it goes.
What about it opens up more for you as far as a pass rusher? What about the scheme and whatnot?
Yeah, it kind of gives me the versatility to just be free. I can take an inside move whenever I want. I'll be able to drop. I'll be able to do some stunts. So I'm able to just do a lot of things in that defense that'll kind of free me up to make some plays.
12.5 sacks last year, one of the top edge rushers in the nation. Can you be better? And if so, how much better can you be this year compared to last?
Yeah, I know I can be better, but it's all about just making the plays that come to me. It's not really a numbers game for me this year. I just want to focus on the team and just putting the best product out there and just living up to our potential that I know we have and winning that Mountain West Championship. 11
returning seniors, or starters, I'm sorry, that's rare these days in college football. What does that mean for your defense that you can just continue on the path that you went from last year to this year?
Yeah, so that's no mistake. You don't just get 11 guys staying on defense for no reason. There's a reason why they stayed. And, guys like Ulugalu-Maseuli and Chris Johnson, big corner pieces in our defense, just having those guys stay and them being the leaders that they are for this defense is going to help us out so much, plus the depth that we have from the new freshmen and plus some of the transfers like Josiah Cox and then Wayne, Dwayne McDougal from Idaho. They're going to add a lot of great talent to our defense. So the sky's the limit.
What does it say about the program that this many guys returned? You know, because they have more options these days, huh?
Right. Yeah, of course. It says a lot about the program, but it also says more about Coach Lewis and what he's preaching. You know, we all believe in what he's preaching, and you know, we all are willing to just buy into what he's preaching, and we believe in it, and we're gonna go at it with full steam ahead.
I talked to Jaden Virgin Morgan earlier, a lot of good edge rushers in the Mountain West. He's one of them. He was second behind you last year in sacks. And he says it's a bit of a competition for him. He keeps an eye on what you do and what the other edge rushers. Same with you?
Yeah, for sure. It's hard not to, you know. You see they're balling out there on the field. So, you know, it's always that friendly competition, but nothing but love and respect for him. He's a local San Diego kid, too. So we got tons of respect for him in his game, and that's my guy.
And what about the fans at Snapdragon? Obviously, last season wasn't great, and the fans, you know, not as many as you would like. What do you think the atmosphere will be this season?
Well, I wouldn't come to the games if they were losing all the time, too. So we just got to change that narrative and put up some W's, and then the fans will start coming. But, you know, until we do that, you know, I'm just hoping the fans will just give us a chance to show them and impress them this year.
And final season in the Mountain West before you guys move to the Pac-12. How important is it to put a good showing here for the final season?
Yeah, we want to leave our names in the history books, you know, win that last Mountain West championship. I know that's probably every team's goal here, but, you know, we're going to be attacking that like no other this year, so I'm really excited for that.
And finally, any personal goals for yourself? I know you're talking about Mountain West championships, but what about, you know, Trey himself?
Yeah, no numbers, but I want to win Mountain West Defensive Player of the Year. That's definitely a goal of mine, and I just want to bring the best out of our team. That's one of my other goals, so I can't wait to do that.
And you got some recognition, preseason Defensive Player of the Year. What does that mean to you?
Yeah, it's cool to get recognition, especially growing up, wanting to be a college football player. So it's really cool to get some recognition. But at the end of the day, it doesn't really. That preseason stuff doesn't really matter to me. The rankings don't matter. You know, it's all about the product you put on the field, and I want to win the real thing. I don't want to win the preseason.
Just a super nice guy, Steve. Incredibly smart, team-oriented. He kept going back to the fact that, you know, it's the team, and he's just one part of it. And I expect him to have a gigantic season. I think nationally he's going to be on the map, and come NFL draft time, I think he's going to be in there.
Yeah, it's always a heartwarming experience to come here and see a bunch of fine young men who are achieving at a high level. And to a person, they all seem like super nice people and really super intelligent and super focused on excelling at their chosen craft and sport, football. They grew up loving it, and they would love to get to the next level. And speaking of that, Aztecs offensive lineman Ross Ulugalu-Maseuli wants to get to the next level. He is in the 5th year of his time with the program, and he's getting some preseason honors, of course. The first team All-Mountain West picks by Athlon Sports and Lindy Sports. We spent some time with the San Diego native this afternoon.
How are you enjoying the time in the first couple hours here as far as media days going? How's that?
I mean, media days going really good. I mean, being able to get out of San Diego for like a little, you know, away from football, but still with football feels good. So being able to talk to some of the guys from the other teams without having to hit each other, it's always a good thing.
What kind of conversations go on when you meet somebody from another program?
Just regular conversations, just like we're two people on the street. I mean, you go up to them, ask them their name, what position, and everything. But then after that, you just, get a regular conversation started like they're just someone you met.
Right, and you got something in common, which is college football in the same conference. And so what sort of things do you guys have in common, you find out, that you've learned?
I mean, we're all just playing ball. Like, it's not too much that we have in common. It's more so just finding, like, common interests. Like, I found a few guys that were interested in bowling, and I love bowling. That's my thing right there, so.
Hey, there is a bowling alley, more than a few bowling alleys. You going to get a chance to do any of that before you leave?
I don't know, because I know we leave tonight, so I wish I didn't know there was any by here, or else I would have went bowling, but I didn't bring my balls or anything either, so.
Oh, so you have your own special bowling balls, huh?
Yeah,
okay.
I have my own balls, my own shoes.
Dedication.
Yeah, I bowled league for a little bit.
Now, as far as being here in the trappings of Vegas and being here at Circa, what's made the biggest impression on you?
I really just like the setup of everything going on right now. The uniforms out there, everything just looks real nice. Like it just seems so organized, and it just seems like something that you want to be around.
The news today out this morning was the polling of all the various teams in the Mountain West, and to no one's surprise, Boise State, they're the big dog, and they deserve to be, and they will be at that top spot until someone knocks them off and proves them wrong.
Yes, sir.
And then there's UNLV, and then the Aztecs were picked by the media, and what do we know, right? To finish 8th. Does that motivate you? What do you take out of that?
I mean, whether we were 8th, 12th, 1st, it doesn't really matter to us. We're gonna work the same way that we're gonna work whether we were 1st or 8th. So it's just, I mean, you can't just forget about it, but you also can't just keep looking at it like it's something that we got to worry about, because it's not something we have to worry about. It's like all these preseason stuff is not something that we're too worried about. We're worried about when the pads come on and when it gets clacking and what's going to happen then.
Let's talk about the conditioning season. What was that like, and how long did that go on, and do you feel like you're a little bit more conditioned this time around than, say, last season?
Yeah, I would say so, because, last season was our first time running that actual tempo offense, so we didn't really, I don't feel that I was prepared. I prepared myself well enough coming off an injury as well, so it was hard for me to just jump back in there when camp came around and try to get back into a tempo offense. But I started to get it towards the end of the season, but at that point it was already too late for me. But I feel like the way that we're going about conditioning this off season with our offense is like, especially our offense, running that tempo offense, especially our offensive line. Our offensive line is practically running the same thing our skills are running right now. We're doing all the same conditioning, so I feel like we're in a good place for the offense and the tempo that we're running, and I can't wait to get that tempo rolling again. It's going to be even better this year. Yeah, I love center. I love being able to take charge of things, point out protections. Yeah, that's something that I do. I point out, blocking assignments, and it just makes my job a lot easier when I have, guys next to me that I can trust, and so I can make a point, and I know that they're going to hear it the first time, and we could just get rolling the first time. And but yeah, I love center. That's what I did during spring ball. If I'm needed anywhere else, I do not have a problem. I'm mostly just taking center reps, but when I come off, Dallas Fincher will go in. He'll go from guard to center. And then, we have Kalen Ellis, Biomekanike. So that's a 4-man rotation interior. So, Cam's coming around, fighting for a spot. There's going to be 3 interior, and we're going to have a great backup interior alignment and someone that could just jump in and it doesn't even skip a beat.
Right. It's one of those things that's really not noticed among casual fans because everybody's always following the ball. But people who follow the game closely and talk to the guys at Boise State, if that offensive line isn't set and solid, that offense has trouble moving the football. Does the team feel it has a better understanding and a little more depth to kind of run that offense this season?
Yeah, I feel like we struggled with depth for the past few years. Not being able to have someone just be able to jump in and not really pick up where the last guy left off if someone goes down. So I feel like right now we're in a very comfortable position with our offensive line, especially the guys that will be starting are going to be, I think, one of the top offensive lines in the nation this year, and I could see that very well happening because, all these guys are working just as hard as me, and it was real talented O-line this year. It just comes down to the work ethic and how much work we put all into it.
Last season, the Aztecs had that 6-game skid. A lot of games at the end could have gone either way, right?
Yeah.
2 and 3, I think, was the stat in single-score games. What is the difference between being able to put those extra points on the board and just not?
Yeah, I believe we were 9 points away from going to a bowl game, something like that. We're reminded of. So, it's just something that, we have to look at and tell ourselves every day, like, we have to come out faster than we ever have been. And whether we do come out fast or not, we have to be able to finish a game. That's what it really comes down to. We can't just start off a game hot, go into halftime, and then just crash from there. The game has to be 4 quarters, and that's all we're working towards right now.
You have to believe you have the talent on the team to win the conference, right? Otherwise, why are you suiting up? Right? You guys feel that? You really...
Yeah, I feel talent all around our offense. Our offense, our defense, where our defense is returning 11 starters, as well as some pickups that they got too. And then our offense, we stacked up on offensive linemen. We picked up some wide receivers, got 2 quarterbacks back there that I trust both of them. A full running back room where, you know, not one guy is just taking all the carries. I feel like they should spread the carries around between that running back room, and it's going to be a real dangerous running back room. And yeah, I feel like we are more than talented to take the Mountain West and go to the college playoffs. We finish this week, and then we have a half week next week, and then we start fall camp on the following Monday. And yeah, competing on the offensive line is just, like I said, we have that 4-man rotation going on interior, and then you know, we got Big Joe back from an injury last season. We still have Christian, brought in Cam May. So our tackles, we have 3 tackles right now. They're all competing, and then a 4-man rotation interior. So, and that interior is just going to be, we're going to have one extra guy that's just going to be someone that could just hop in and get to work if he needs to be.
How do you feel about the offense now, the no-huddle, up-tempo offense? Does everybody on the offense, do they feel like they're starting to get a better grip on it?
Yeah, I feel like we're starting to get a way better grip on it, especially, you know, last year, like I said, it wasn't a whole lot of well enough conditioned guys to run the tempo that Lou was expecting out of us. So I feel like we have a way better understanding and a way better mindset going into this tempo offense with the conditioning and everything. So I feel like once people see the tempo of our offense, it's going to be a big difference from last year.
Thank you, Ross, and good luck this season.
Thank you so much.
Great stuff, Steve. Great to hear from 2 of the players, and tomorrow, of course, we're going to hear from the coach.
That's right. But for now, it's time for us to stream right up on out of here and invite you to follow us on the X. That's at Aztecs_all_in. Drop us a note at aztecsallin@gmail.com. So for Louis Weiner, I'm Steve Perez saying thank you for joining us on day 1 of the Mountain West Football Media Day. Well, excuse me, that's the Old Trapper Mountain West Football Media Days here at Circa Casino and Resort, and we will have more from day 2 soon.